Na 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 na.
Closer to our own time, no one really pays attention to how good of a piano player Nat Cole is because he has an incredible voice. In the same way, Pach Elbel's canon has overshadowed all of his other work, and George Frederick Handel, who wrote wonderful keyboard stuff, is sort of overshadowed by oratorios like The Messiah. Charles Crawley used to say it's harder not to hear The Messiah in New York at Christmas time. This is a piece you'll recognize the melody from. We have a different title here in America for it, but it was actually, this arrangement was done by Charles Wesley, the fellow that started the Methodist Church. And he studied with a guy named William Boyce, who I would, he was an incredible composer, an incredible musical thinker. I actually, in the 70s, I had 1.2 piano lessons a week. I had orchestration and conducting on Saturday with a guy, this Brooklynite named Ron Jacobs, who used a lot of words that weren't in my music dictionary but could readily be found in a George Carlin or Lenny Bruce. He was pretty interesting to work with. But that's where I learned to do all of that. But this arrangement is really, really very interesting. I'll see if I can get through this. You'll recognize the melody. There we go. Gonna get back to regular harpsichord. Thank you. In 1776, there were less than 2.5 million Europeans here. As far as the indigenous people, the estimates are wildly low and wildly enormous, so you got me. But there were only 4 cities with more than 10,000 people, Philadelphia, Charleston, New York, and Boston, Philadelphia being the biggest. That sounds absurd, but then when you think, when we became a state in 1912, Phoenix was 17,000 people. Now it doubled by 1925. But a fellow settled in Philadelphia named Alexander Reinigal, and George Washington needed a teacher for his daughter, so he got the gig. Basically, in this period, you know, in Europe, you either had a church gig or you had a court gig. There wasn't really, wasn't a lot of clubs at the time, in the way that, you know, we have them now. And you know, the structure of this music, when you play a pop gig and someone says, "Can you play this song?" And then, you know, I'd look at the band leader and say, "No, I don't." He would just say, "Don't worry, man. It's a 1-6-4-5 in C." Well, what he's telling me is it's C, A minor, F to G. Much as, you know, if I'll probably burn for doing this, but that's a 1-6-4-5. So you really can't go in and say, okay, this is Handel's 4th aria from King Zedekiah. It kicks on the 4 chord, watch for the 2. You know, you really can't do that with this stuff. So playing from score is a very, very different thing. At this point, keep in mind, there's nothing we can do as Americans that will impress Anglo-Europe. You know, if we get matched horses, we have the wrong carriage. I hate to allude to something as highbrow as Gilligan's Island, but remember when the Howells would say the ink on their money isn't even dry? That was very much England and Europe's attitude towards the cousins over here. We really came in our, you know, it was a lot later when we, you know, we produced people like Washington Irving, who would eventually give way to Poe and Faulkner and a whole slew of what you would call American writers, and American painters like Bierstadt and Church and Cole. Didn't really hurt them that they're painting the Hudson River Valley. You would, you know, it's like Raquel Welch taking a bad picture in 1967.